message.
Assalamu alaikum, family. It's your brother Landon Next. This is Nation Town TV Live. We're going to be on quick, strong, and in a hurry. But this week, we saw some photographs of our beloved sister, Serena Williams. And something was a little off about our sister. And it sparked a question in my mind, and I'm sure in many other minds, because she joined the long list of celebrities and people that we've seen who've appeared to lighten their skin. There even been jokes about it. But the question that came to my mind is, who taught us to hate ourselves? You might be surprised by the answer, but who taught us, who taught you to hate ourselves? Let's get to it.
I was told to deliver this message.
Yes, sir. All right, family, this is your brother Landon Next. This is Nation Town TV Live, a very quick episode of Nation Town TV Live, I promise it. And it is, of course, brought to you by your NationTownStore.com. And we're going to jump right into this topic real quick. We're dealing with what we saw with our sister, Serena Williams, the change in her appearance, but not so much that, but just the overall question of who taught you to hate yourself. Brother Malcolm X is famous for posing that question, as was taught to him by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But let me start off in the proper fashion. Speaking of which, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master W. Fard Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever. I further bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger, but let me be as specific as the Holy Quran, as it said in Surah 16 and 36, 10 and 47, and then expounded in 14 and 4, that certainly a messenger would be raised for every nation, and that messenger would speak the language, meaning that they would empathize with the people in which they were sent to raise. And I'm speaking of none other than the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I would know nothing of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Master Fard Muhammad, these two great hands that produced our brother, who is celebrating 88 88 divine years, the vast majority of which 64 plus 65 and some change of those 88 years have been spent in service of the Aboriginal people of this world and the world in general. I'm speaking to none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And in those three wonderful names, I greet all of the Nation Town family in the words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Shout out to everybody chiming in. I see you. This may be one of the quickest episodes of Nation Town, which means it might be about 4.5 hours of Nation Town TV Live. No, we're gonna blow through this. I almost didn't do the show, but I feel like I had to touch on this topic. Plus, I made a promise to the Nation Town family that I would, if no other day in the week, I would touch down every Tuesday, and I'm going to follow that up. Shout out to everybody chiming in. I see you, Sister Tracy. I see you, Brother Hakeem. Wa alaikum salam. Ramadan Kareem. I see you, Derek Henderson. Peace and blessings to you, dear brother. I see you, Brother Kevin Rudy Williams. Wa alaikum salam from Jackson, Mississippi. All praises due to Allah. Let's get down to it. I'm going to kind of breeze through this. Hit us up with your questions and comments. I will try to get to them. But keep in mind that we're going to get through this pretty fast. But it's just a point that I just really got to touch on. I really got to touch on. Again, the question is, who taught you to hate yourself? We keep seeing images like this. Beautiful black women and brothers. I mean, Sammy Sosa. I mean, I ain't funny style or nothing, but Sammy Sosa was a great athlete. I mean, he not a hard brother to look at. And then you had one of my childhood crushes, Lark Voorhees. But here's the thing: there's a bigger issue with skin bleaching that's worldwide. In fact, America is one of the least affected countries right now where black people exist when it comes to dealing with skin bleaching. Skin bleaching sells better in some African and Caribbean countries than weave does. Now, America might be the weave capital of the world, but skin bleaching is really all the rage with a lot of black people in the African diaspora. But let me go ahead and say this. This episode is really not about skin bleaching. The question is, who taught you to hate yourself? We're going to go over, in fact, we're going to give you a test real quick to see if who we believe on Nation Town TV taught you to hate yourself was actually the one that taught you to hate yourself. So I want y'all to hit me up in the comments real quick. Who do you think taught us to hate ourselves? Who taught us to hate ourselves? Who taught a sister like Serena, who has always been beautiful, even as a little girl, beautiful, strong, talented, intelligent. So I don't think Serena or her sister gets enough credit for how articulate and how intelligent they've always come off. I've never listened to them talk. I would go so far as to say that they seem more intelligent than Tiger Woods. I mean, they just seem so level-headed, well-mannered. Our sister is beautiful. She recently got married to a Caucasian. She had this beautiful daughter, beautiful black daughter. Make no mistake, there's really no such thing as a mixed person. There's really not. But what would make her or any black woman or man insecure about how we look when in reality, I just got to say this, we're the best looking people on the planet Earth. I'm sorry. The Aboriginal people of this earth, particularly the black man and the black woman. I mean, come on, man. We make everything look good. If there's clothing out there, if there's a certain kind of fashion out there, you really don't know how good it looks until you see a sister wearing it, till you see a black man wearing it. We make everything we touch look. I mean, come on, man. How are we not the most beautiful people on the earth? But who taught us to hate ourselves? Because we have to admit that there is a disease of self-hate that we're dealing with. And what you see here what you see here with our sister, what you see with Sammy, what you see with Lil' Kim, what you see with somebody like Lark Voorhees, what you see in these situations is really the tip of the iceberg. What am I talking about? You're really looking at the tip of the iceberg. I remember, I'm just old enough to remember when AIDS, because remember, self-hate is a disease. I would go so far as to say that self-hate is worse than AIDS, but some of you may remember when AIDS really first became the talk of the world. More so than what COVID-19, well, about the same as what COVID-19 is right now, but on a larger scale. This really had people shook. People were really dropping dead from this. And then with it being sexually transmitted, that even made it worse because people couldn't, you couldn't run in your house and hide. There are probably more babies being produced right now during this quarantine than ever. But with AIDS, you were scared and very careful with who you would mate with. And then because of this, do you remember when rumors and these myths and these misconceptions started to grow that you could look at a person and tell that they had AIDS? And it got so bad that AIDS experts and foundations and organizations had to come out and put out PSAs and stuff and telling people, listen, AIDS doesn't really have a look. In fact, you don't really see the common symptoms of AIDS until it's way too late to even do anything about it. Full-blown AIDS, but there's no look to HIV. And we know that now. It's pretty clear now when you look at some of the people like Magic Johnson and even like Charlie Sheen. These are individuals who have HIV or AIDS, and they look 100% healthy. Well, Charlie Sheen, he always looked kind of like a dope fiend, but he always looked like that. But Magic Johnson only gained weight. So now we know that. But back in the day, if you were skinny, everybody thought you had AIDS. If you were skinny and you had allergies, oh yeah, you definitely had AIDS. If you had bad skin, if your skin broke out all the time, people, oh yeah, you got AIDS. But we had to learn the hard way that you can't tell who's HIV positive just by looking at them. And when it comes to the disease of self-hate, you can't tell just by, if they don't have their skin bleached, then they're all right. They're proud to be black. They love themselves because they don't have, a white husband or a white wife. Oh, okay. They love themselves. No, I'm here to tell you that with it, self-hate, it can lurk beneath the skin in the mind, just like HIV AIDS lurks in the DNA. Shout out to everybody chiming in. I see you. I'm going to be on real quick, fast, and in a hurry. I see you, Brother Todd Hitton. He says, no matter how much our people bleach their skin, we should not judge them. In fact, Minister Farrakhan said, take off the robes of hypocrisy. You judge others while you are a failure. All praises due to Allah. Shout out to everybody else chiming in. And like I said, if you were paying attention, this episode is not about bleaching skin. Because the way you look does not say whether or not you hate yourself. So how do we know if somebody hates themselves? Is it when they look like this? When they go from what you see on the left to what you see on the right? Is it because when they look like this? When they look like this? When they look like this? Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. So what we're going to do, we're going to go into it and find some symptoms of self-hate. Now, some of y'all might be thinking, let me just, because I don't have a whole lot of time, let me just jump on this real quick. The white man taught us how to hate ourselves. If that's what you say, I can't say that you're wrong. That would be ridiculous for me to say, oh no, they're completely exonerated, they're completely innocent. But I'm pretty sure everybody that's watching this speaks English, right? Let me use this analogy. Who taught you to speak English? I'm not telling you who taught you to enunciate a verb and taught you how to spell. No, 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 no. When you first said your first words as a baby, who was it that taught you to get from the point of goo goo gaga to saying mama, daddy, blue, red, white, saying your own name? Who taught you to do that? Did a white man come into your house when you were 2 years old or 1 year old, however old you were when you first started talking? Did a white man come kick through the door with an English textbook and start teaching you? To start going over language courses with you, and then a couple of years later, boom, you were talking. Is that how you learned English? That's not how you learned English. So yes, the white man is at the root, just like the white man is at the root of the English language. The English language is one of the youngest and most bastardized languages in the world. It's a very young, bastardized, stepped on language. And it's comprised of Latin, Greek, even a little bit of Arabic, all kind of other languages, ancient languages that came long before it. And it was all thrown together by the Caucasians. So yeah, this is his language that we speak. But it was the environment that you were raised in that taught you how to speak English. So I'm going to ask you again, who taught you to hate yourself? It's the same thing. You can go to the root and find the Caucasian, but if you look in the more immediate proximity, you're going to find people that literally look just like you. Family, your neighborhood, your community. That's what taught you to hate yourself. Now, some of y'all might not be feeling that. Y'all might not be feeling that. No, brother, no, it's the white man, the white. Oh, okay. Well, here's a little bit of, well, before I get to the proof that proves that you were taught by somebody that looks like you to hate yourself, before we get to that, let's just make sure we establish self-hate as the disease that it is. Let's look at some of the symptoms, because I don't think we are really clear on what establishes or proves somebody to be someone who suffers from self-hate. You got the COVID-19 test. We're going to have a hatred 19 test. We're going to go through a few things that might let you know that you hate yourself. And there's some things that are actually very common and very popular in our community. First of all, one thing that a very obvious symptom of self-hate that people always tend to overlook is this right here. Just by this picture, what do you think you're looking at? What do you think is going on between these two, between this black man and this black woman? They look happy? Do they look angry? Do they look like they're friends? Do they look like they're upset with each other? Battle of the sexes is what you're looking at. That's a symptom of self-hate. No, brother, that's not a symptom of self-hate. Because these men is always, no, brother, it ain't self-hate. Because these women, they always doing this. Well, what do we tend to do? Do we all turn gay when we get mad at the opposite sex within our race? No, that's not what we do. That's not what we do. We usually go to the other side, where the grass always appears to be greener. We start messing with other races of people. And when we get over there, we don't even hold the same contempt and the same preconceptions that we have with each other, because we already have preconceptions of them. All white men are nice and know how to treat a woman. All white women know how to serve a man. So when you listen to the battle of the sexes between black men and black women, listen closely. On the surface, you're going to hear, okay, respect and infidelity and loyalty and finances and money and this and that. Are you high value or low value, as we talked about last week? But underneath that, what you're really hearing is self-hate. Because let's be honest, the black family has been destroyed for the last 40 to 50 years. So we've been trained subconsciously, and even some of us that haven't even been subconscious, it's been right on the forefront of our mind. We've been trained to have disdain and issues with the opposite sex. There's a lot of men out there with female problems that started with their own mother. There's a lot of women with man problems that started with their own father or lack thereof. So that's one symptom. What's another symptom of self-hate? Because like I said, it's easy to look at bleached skin or something and say, oh yeah, that person hate themselves. Or you see them going down the aisle with a white man or marrying a white woman or just having children with a white man or white woman. Oh, they hate themselves. I'm here to tell you that when you go to some of the blackest places in the world, like Essence Fest, you surrounded by people who suffer from self-hate. I guarantee you. You can't see it. It's just like when you go in large crowds of people right now. How many people are walking around that are positive for COVID-19? You don't know. You can't tell just by looking at them. And don't sit there and wait to see somebody wheezing for air and breathing hard and coughing. By that point, it's too late. Let's look at another. What do you see here? This is a cartoon referencing our poor economic mentality. As you can see, that's a pig, a black pig. $1 trillion of consumer buying power. But look who's feeding off that pig. The media, corporate America, Asian businesses, hair care industry. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Banks, Hollywood. And then look at poor little black business, little piglet over there in the back. Ain't getting no love. 98% of our dispensable income spent with this enemy that we swear does not even recognize that our life matters. That's why we out there screaming Black Lives Matter, right? The fact that you spend 98% of your money with non-black owned businesses proves that you at least, like with sickle cell, and I'm not making fun of sickle cell. I have a niece that suffers with it. I also have nieces that have the sickle cell trait. With sickle cell, they have something where you can just have the trait and not have the full-blown disease. 98% of, just by that economic stat, 98% of us at least have the trait. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. What's another symptom of the disease of self-hate? Because we got to get past the obvious. Color complex. Ooh, color complex. This is a photo of the infamous doll test where little children, this also further proves that the person that taught us to hate ourselves directly, it wasn't some random white man. Our immediate environment teaches us this. Color complexes. Not just color complexes, but you can also put hair complexes. We give human characteristics to hair. Like I don't even use the word nappy anymore. I used to say nappy. And then I thought about it one day. I said, damn, that's dumb as hell. Because if anything else in this world, anything else, a human being, a mechanical object, if anything else had the same characteristic as black hair, you wouldn't call it kinky, you wouldn't call it difficult, you wouldn't call it ugly. You would actually use a very specific word. Strong. Why don't we ever call nappy hair strong hair? And what do we call stringy hair that blows whichever direction the wind goes? We call that good hair. I've never seen good hair in my life. I've never seen hair help an old lady across the street. I've never seen hair give food to the homeless. I've never seen hair save somebody from a wreckage, in the middle of the highway. I've never seen hair do anything of any good or bad. I ain't never seen hair rob nobody. I ain't never seen hair cheat on nobody. I ain't never seen hair jump nobody. I ain't never seen that in my life. So how is it that we give these characteristics to hair? Who taught us to hate ourselves? But when you look at hair is actually strong. It's strong. In fact, if you saw somebody, sisters, and this is to the sisters, if you saw a brother who had the same personal characteristics as black hair, you would be attracted to him. And if you saw a man who had the same physical characteristics as Caucasian hair, you wouldn't want to have nothing to do with that brother. Whichever way the wind blows, there he go. Everybody just pushing him over. Anybody just pushing him whichever way he want to go. He don't never stand up for nothing. He's just a pushover or a comb over. Black hair will stand tall in the middle of a tornado. That's strength. That's not nappy. That's not ugly. That's not kinky. But why do we give human characteristics to hair, and why don't we even give hair its proper characteristics? Black hair is some of the strongest stuff known to man. And we put it through some of the worst changes, and it still sit on top of our head. Why do we do that? Here's another. Shout out to everybody chiming in. I see you. We definitely won't be on long, family. We definitely won't be on long. But shout out to everybody chiming in. All right. Here's another one. I'm just going to put this one straight up in words. Speaks for itself. Spiritual and philosophical gangbanging. I know. You thinking, well, no, brother, because I believe in this, and that, and I want to make sure that my brothers and sisters, that they understand. I want them to be wide awake. I want them to be woke. So let me tell you something. Whatever religious or philosophical knowledge you think you have, again, we're trying to find out if you test positive for self-hatred. I want you to go back to the time in your life where you first came into that knowledge. Or it could even be the same now. But let's at least just go back to when you first came into that knowledge. When you got that knowledge, what was your first inclination? Was it A, I got this knowledge, so I'm going to run out. I'm going to hit the enemy upside the head with this knowledge. And then I'm going to embody this knowledge and be the best, most conscious, most woke black person I can be with this knowledge? Or was it B? Oh, I think I just found something out that I don't think other people know. Let me run out and argue with the first black person I see. Let me go run out and argue with somebody who I believe thinks something else or believes something else. Not go out there and come at them with love and tell them, with love, hey, sister, do you know, I told a homeless sister the other day, do you know you the second self of God? She said, what does that mean? I said, oh man, let me tell you. I didn't go hard on her. She had a blanket over her, and I don't think it was nothing on under the blanket. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't see. But I didn't talk about what she already had on. I was just talking about what I had to say. And I said it with love, like I was giving her a treasure map. But when you run out with knowledge and you can't wait to go argue or go spiritually or philosophically gangbang on somebody else, or you jump to a conclusion about a video you ain't even watched yet, but you already got this pre-recorded, pre-prepared, microwave argument for whatever you think is an issue, you might hate yourself, especially when it's always aimed at your brother. You might hate yourself. You might want to go get tested. Like they say on pregnancy tests and stuff, they about 99.9999 effective. But you still want to see a doctor. All praises due to Allah. I'm not going to be on much longer, family. We got one more symptom before we move on to the next part of this. One more symptom that, I thought about leaving off of here, but I had to touch on it, especially considering that I mentioned spiritual and philosophical gangbanging. I can't say that spiritual and philosophical gangbanging is a bad thing and then not mention actual gangbanging. I grew up around gang activity. If I didn't have friends that so-called gangbang, I wouldn't have had many friends at all. And I see the value in their overall warrior spirit. So, I don't go too hard on their spirit, but I cannot condone, even in the least bit, their activity. I mean, we think a sellout and a self-hate Negro is just somebody with bleached skin or with a white girlfriend or a white husband. Then what do you call somebody who exclusively murders other black people? Now, every gang member is not out there banging. Let's for those who know what's going on in the streets, you know that. Every gang member ain't Doughboy and O-Dog. Stop that. You got brothers who grew up in the set and then end up going to college. Never robbed nobody, never shot at nobody. It's just if it happened to come to that, then, they would have been with the business, as they say. But for those who do that, and if you see that, you condone it. How can you condone that? The murder of black people, especially when it's discriminating and it's specifically your own people. Because if it was just, okay, I'm going to murder anybody that disrespects me, then we would be on about the 45th year of a 45-year war between black gangbangers and the police department. I mean, war. I ain't talking about complaints, filing complaints at the precinct. No, I ain't talking about videos and Black Lives Matter protests. No, I'm talking about war. 2 of them die, 2 of them die. That kind of war. If it was indiscriminate, if it was, hey, ain't nobody gonna disrespect me, homie. If it was really like that, and I don't condone that, and I ain't calling for that. I'm just saying. So that lets me know that it's something. It's some self-hate there. You may be positive for self-hate if you don't see something wrong with indiscriminately killing or discriminately killing your own people. Being tribal, I'm with that. Having a warrior spirit, I'm with that. Being territorial, I'm with that. But killing each other, I'm not with that. These are just some symptoms of self-hate beyond how you dress, how you talk, if you bleach your skin, if you with a white girl or a white boy. Now, those are some pretty strong symptoms too. But we almost at a point where we letting a lot of infected people come amongst us. Just because we don't see bleached skin, just because we don't see a white girlfriend or a white boyfriend and that kind of thing. But let me further prove before I get out of here that we taught ourselves to hate ourselves in the most immediate fashion. Of course, the white man started the process. Of course he did. Of course he passed the baton. But we didn't have to take it. We could have dropped it. But let's look at some proof before we get up out of here that we taught us to hate ourselves. Shout out to everybody chiming in. I see you. If you missed any part of the video, make sure you go back. You can also catch it on YouTube, Nationtown TV on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you show us love on Cash App, $ Nationtown. 10% goes to the Yes Ma'am program. Definitely show us some love. Meal in the message. But let's deal with the proof. Some few exhibits before we get out of here that we taught us to hate ourselves. Exhibit A. This is a very common scene in the black community. This is a beauty supply store. You know you in the ghetto when you see pawn shop, liquor store, beauty supply store, fast food restaurant, pawn shop, liquor store, pawn shop, liquor store, funeral parlor, beauty supply store. And it's not even about who owns the store, because there's actually been a lot of sisters lately all over the country who have been opening up their own beauty supply stores. There's some brothers in the Nation of Islam. I forgot what city. I want to say DMV, the DMV area, DC, Virginia, Maryland, but I'm not 100% sure. I need to get those actual facts. But I know it's some black people really jumping in this business, and it warms my heart. But the issue is not just who owns it. Look at what it says at the top. It says beauty supply. That insinuates off top that this place supplies things that will beautify you. Oh, Brother Landon, what's wrong with that? Have you ever been in a beauty supply store? I'm sure you have. And when you go in there, I want you to ask yourself a question. How difficult is it to find a beauty product in that store that does not change the black woman or black man's natural look? Do you know that there was a time in the 70s, little window of time, and this was after the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad invented, I'm going to say it again, I'm going to say it one more time, invented the Black Power movement. Wasn't nobody talking about Black Power before the Nation of Islam. But after the Renaissance of the Nation of Islam, the early 70s and most of the 70s was a Black Power phenomenon, everywhere from Hollywood to music, so forth and so on. Do you know that was a small window of time where black women would go to beauty supply stores and wig shops, and they would buy fake hair that was nappier than the hair they had on their head? They had a process back then called teasing, where, you know, half white or just real Indian in their family, black folks would tease their hair for hours and hours to get their hair to stand up like a natural afro. Or they would just go buy an afro wig. And the hair on that afro wig was actually nappier than their natural hair. Yeah, that really happened. And to be honest, we kind of getting back to that slowly but surely. Slowly but surely, because there's sisters buying fake dreadlocks, and I don't see nothing wrong with that. You know, if a sister or brother is wearing a synthetic hair, but it's a ethnic hairdo, I'm with it. But look on the shelves in these beauty supply stores. Almost everything from the pictures on the windows outside to the products on the shelves are made to make you look other than yourself. To make your hair a different texture, make your skin a different complexion, make your eyes a different color. And it's got a sign outside that says beauty supply. We give you beauty because you don't already have it, so bring your nigga behind in here and we'll give you some. Hurry up and buy it, by the way. Proof that we taught us to hate ourselves, especially considering the fact that we can't keep our money out of these businesses, especially the ones that are not owned by us. Here's another bit of proof that we're teaching ourselves, still teaching ourselves to hate ourselves. This is a personal thing right here. This is just a personal pet peeve that I'm going to drop on you right now. Y'all might not see it, but I see it. Hit us up in the comments, either on Facebook or YouTube, if you've seen the same thing that I've seen. This is just a public service announcement. Listen, family, it's okay to show off your dark-skinned child, especially on social media. It's okay. It really is. Now, I'm not knocking. I mean, come on. I'm not the right complexion to knock people that are not dark-skinned. I mean, or knock people. Yeah, to knock people that are not dark-skinned, because I'll be knocking myself. But I see dark-skinned children every day in the world. I see they all over the place. It's still more dark-skinned black people than there are not dark-skinned black people. Not just in the world, definitely in the world, but especially in America. Why don't I see these dark-skinned children on social media? Ooh, look at my baby. Why don't I see that? It's almost like we don't even have pride in our children unless they're walking around looking like no darker than me. I'm like right on the border. Most of y'all wouldn't even flaunt my baby picture if I was your child. I mean, it's just a personal thing. I just want to see more, because black people of all shades and hues are the most beautiful people on this earth, and we robbing the world by hiding. Some people don't even show pictures of themselves. They don't even, I'm seeing all these people. I see these funny looking light skinned people taking a million selfies every day, posting them on Instagram. Hey, dark skinned sisters, I'm here to tell you. You can do it too, but please also include your dark-skinned children. They are so beautiful. I'm not saying they more beautiful or less beautiful, but it's okay to show off your dark-skinned child. I promise. Ain't nobody gonna be mad at you. The majority of black people that see that are gonna look a lot like that child as far as their complexion is concerned. Let's see more of that. That's all I'm saying. We about to get up out of here. Another bit of proof, as I mentioned earlier, is the doll test. This was an infamous doll test that was done many years ago, but it was also redone recently, within the last 10 years, where the black child chose the doll that looked nothing like them over the one that looked closest to them. Who taught them that? Somebody had to teach them that. And it wasn't a white man, not directly. Here's another one. Let's keep it all the way real. There's a little bit more proof, and we're going to get up out of here. Name a living black person that is unanimously respected, loved, and considered successful. But there's more to it. That is not admired by white people. Do you sit around and wait for white people to give black people a stamp of approval before you show your love to them? Now, the believers that are watching might be like, oh, well, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, well, yeah, it's a lot of black people that respect this man. I give it to you. But for what this man has done and the work that he's put in, there's far too many that are hesitant to show just basic respect. I ain't saying you got to bow down and kiss this man's feet, but just show him respect. And he's not the only one. We got this habit, and there's a big lie that's told in the black community. I got to take a few shots at my elders. It's this big myth that's perpetuated by a lot of our elder brothers and sisters that in the 60s, everybody loved Elijah. Everybody loved Malcolm. I'm talking about black people. All the black folks was with Elijah. All the black folks was with Malcolm. All the black folks loved Dr. King. All the black folks loved Medgar Evers. All the black... Stop it. Everybody in Birmingham didn't even follow the bus boycott. There was a lot of Negroes talking about, oh, I ain't gonna be late to my job. White man ain't gonna fire me over this nigga walking around talking about we shall overcome. Nigga ain't gonna pay my bills. That's the truth of the matter. It was a small percentage of black people. Hell, if Martin Luther King would have marched with the majority of black people, we would have took the country. It's always been a high concentration of black people in the Deep South. Hell, if he would have marched through the Edmund Pettus Bridge with 15 million black people behind them, you think the police would have ran up on them? Man, stop it. It was because it was 100 of them. They was able to sick dogs on the dog. The dogs would have been scared if it would have been 1 million black people behind Dr. King. And no, they wasn't all with Elijah. What this nigga talking about all this Arab stuff, man? I believe in Jesus, in the name of Jesus. I know how you treated Elijah by how you treat his son. His spiritual son, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So don't tell me, oh, we was all with Elijah. Oh, we all loved Elijah. Stop it. Oh, Malcolm, I love Malcolm. Yeah, right. You waited for that green light to like Malcolm, which was two things. One, seeing his face on a federal stamp, which Malcolm had to be spinning in his grave about. And then second, he was your escape route when them Muslims ran up on you. Or you thought it was. Oh, I'm just going to bring up Malcolm and then they'll leave me alone. You didn't give a damn about Malcolm. If you did, live like Malcolm. That's what he really wanted. He didn't want you walking around with a t-shirt and licking a stamp with his face on it. That ain't what he did, what he died for. That ain't what he lived for. Stop it. Stop it. So I'm going to say that one again. Name a living black person that is unanimously respected, loved, and considered successful that is not admired by white people. And do it publicly and do it loudly. Here's another one. Name a goal you have for yourself or your family that would not put you or your family in closer proximity in relationship with white people. I'm going to say that again. Name a goal that you have for yourself or your family that would not put you and your family in closer proximity and relationship with white people. And if you can do that, you might be either free of self-hatred or you might be on the road to recovery. If you can't do that, you have full-blown self-hatred. If all your hopes and dreams just bring you closer to white people. And any black validation is insufficient for you. You want to do it so big that white people kissing your behind. Or white people are just closer to you, as it says in the scripture, nearness to Pharaoh. Which brings me to the next one. We about to get out of here real soon. This is the eye test, ladies and gentlemen. We got an eye portion of the test. I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes and think of a good school or good neighborhood. And who do you see? This is the eye test. Close your eyes and think of a good school. Think of a good neighborhood. Where is it? Where is this school, this good school? Where is this neighborhood? Is it on your side of town, around your people? Anywhere in America or the world? Who's in the school? Who's running the school? Who lives around the school? Close your eyes. What do they look like? Dreadlocks, dark skin, big nose, big lips, strong hair? Or do they look like Bull Connor and Donald Trump? You might hate yourself. You just might hate yourself. Last but not least, what are your opinions of the NOI, the Nation of Islam, and other black constructs? And if your opinions are negative, do those opinions hinder your support? Read that slowly if you got to. What are your opinions of the NOI and other black constructs? And if negative, do those opinions hinder your support? What do I mean by this? How does this have to do anything with self-hate? Am I saying, oh, if you don't love the Nation of Islam, you hate yourself? Well, technically. But let me give you an example that does not include the Nation of Islam. When I drive down the street and I see 19 brothers standing on the corner with these purple and gold shirts that look like family reunion t-shirts with fringes on them, and they got this loudspeaker, and they got this brother screaming the words of the Bible. Y'all know who I'm talking about, the Hebrew Israelites. You know what I think when I see that? I think all praises are due to Allah. Those are 19 brothers that ain't robbing nobody. They ain't sitting around getting high. They not sitting around hating on another black man. They not sitting around doing something or doing nothing at all. They not gang banging. They sitting there reading the word of God as they perceive it. They ain't putting their hands on nobody. And almost 80 to 90% of what they saying, I agree with. And 80 to 90% of what they saying was taught by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad 70 years ago. So I say all praises due to Allah. When I see my brothers in the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, the New Black Panthers, same thing. Praise be to Allah. Organized black men are like music to my eyes. So if you got a problem when you see that, but then don't forget the last part of that question. Last part. Do those opinions hinder your support? And here's why I asked that. Okay, you didn't buy that newspaper. You didn't buy that bean pie. You didn't go to nationtownstore.com. You didn't support the Hebrew Israelites and whatever they were putting out there. You didn't support those things. Okay. And then you drove right past the brothers with the bean pie, right past the Hebrew Israelites, right past the New Black Panthers, because you was on your way to the mall. Do you know who owns that mall? Do you know what they believe? There's a pretty good chance that the people that own that mall are Jews. Good chance, not guaranteed. It's an even stronger chance that not only are they Jews, but there's something called Ashkenazi Jews, who more so than the Torah, they believe in something called the Talmud. And they believe that Jesus should be boiling in a pit of his own excrement. Jesus, that Jesus that you and your grandma love so much. Did you know that? And does that hinder you from supporting them? Have you ever read your city newspaper, the New Orleans Picayune, the LA Times, the New York Post, the New York Times, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the Miami Herald, the Chicago Sun-Times? Hey, do you read that? Then why don't you read the Final Call? Most cities have a black newspaper, a black non-religious newspaper. Do you support that? Why is it political, philosophical beliefs don't matter when you're supporting them, but they got to be 100% in alignment when it comes to your own people? Chances are 98% of the things you spend your expendable income on and time on are products of somebody who voted for Donald Trump. Somebody who thinks that you're 3/5 of a man. To my sports fans out there, I guarantee you most of your favorite teams that you argue in the barbershop about all day, they owned by people who not only voted for Trump. See, we only voted for Joe Biden and voted for Obama. Not only did they vote for Trump, now I ain't saying Trump is a bad person to vote for. I ain't saying he's a good person to vote for. They not only voted for him, they probably put a couple of $100,000 in his campaign coffers. And they own the team that you will argue with your brother about all day in the barbershop about and on social media about. But you got Dallas Cowboy merchandise all over your crib. Jerry Jones, when the Colin Kaepernick thing popped off, he told you what he thought about you. I'm just using the Cowboys as an example. With that said, family, we're going to get up out of here. I want to once again wish the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan a blessed 88th birthday. He looks every bit of about 48, but he's 88 years. I pray that we move out on the work that he's done in those 88 years. I'm not going to necessarily pray for him to get another 88 years. We don't deserve him for another 88 years. We, black people, the earth, humanity don't deserve another 88 years of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We haven't proved that we do. But with that said, I do wish him a blessed and happy 88th birthday. But lastly, I got to hit you with this one. When it comes to self-hate, when it comes to what we saw with our sister Serena, what we see with Lil' Kim, what we see with Lark Voorhees brothers, a lot of that falls on us. Because I remember reading an article back in the 90s of Lil' Kim, and this is why I wasn't surprised when our sister did what she did with her face and her body. I think it was a Vibe magazine article, and she basically said that she didn't see herself as really being sexy or being attractive. And when they asked her, well, who do you think is attractive? She started naming out all these high yellow black women and white women. I remember she mentioned Vanessa Williams, Stacey Dash. But my question is this, brother, when was the last time you told a black woman that looks like this that she's beautiful? And she don't have to look like a white girl or close to it to be beautiful. When's the last time you verbally just said that? I don't mean, hey girl, you fine. Oh girl, let me hit that. No, I mean just, hey sister, you are stunning. And then just walk away. Don't ask for no phone number or nothing. What about the niece in your family? Your relatives? Your mama, your sister, just tell them they're beautiful. I'm telling you, it goes a long way. It goes a long way. With that said, family, I'm going to leave y'all as I greeted y'all in the words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum.
I was told to deliver this message.